Greetings, I'm Dike Rostant. Welcome back to the TTT News. I am very happy. We've been waiting to have this conversation for a little while, and with the tagline of transforming communities, we're going to be speaking with Montgomery Guy, the Acting Director, Entrepreneurial Development and Support Services at the Youth Training and Employment Partnership Program, YTEPP.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rostant, for having me on behalf of YTEPP Ltd. It's a pleasure to join you on this program and to share with your viewing audience YTEPP Ltd. And where we're at on the education and training landscape.
And I really want to hear where y'all are at on that landscape, please, Mr. Guy. And I'll say this. Sometimes I hear someone, hey, that man going serve all boy, or them going YTEPP. And that used to be a thing, and that was perceived to be a slight. Now, I think in the same way that when you get a little older, you realize, but wait, no, the cowboys may not have been the good guys.
Right.
How is that perception now with regard to programs that run under YTEPP Ltd?
Yes, the thing is, TVET on a whole has this stigma that it's just for school dropouts. You're not doing well at academia, so go and learn a trade. But the thing is, the world, the country has been transitioning, and it's even more pronounced now during this COVID pandemic, where skills are actually taking the lead. Okay, so YTEPP Ltd. Has really projected itself as a formidable force in the training and education landscape. And what we have been doing is not only introducing vocational skills training, but it is coupled with our digital literacy, with our entrepreneurship. So we're really guiding our citizens, our young citizens, our retrenched and unemployed citizens on not only to learn a skill, but how to monetize that skill in the digital realm as well. So YTEPP Ltd. Is well positioned, we're well poised to really showcase TVET in a whole new light, along technology, along artificial intelligence, virtual reality, mobile app development, going along those lines and securing key partnerships with various sectors of the national economy to really raise the prominence of TVET and what it can do for our citizens.
Is all of that, Mr. Guy? Well, this is news to me now, but with that in mind, though, who is the ideal candidate or the target grouping for someone to take advantage of YTEPP's offerings?
Yes, YTEPP primarily target youth between 15 and 35 years. And in 2011, the mandate expanded to include persons between 25 and 60 years who are unemployed or retrenched. So it's quite wide in scope, but our primary focus is on youth and youth development, youth empowerment, as well as ensuring that persons who are retrenched also have an opportunity to be skilled or reskilled to enter or re-enter the job market.
And I like the fact that you speak about upskilling. So if someone, it was a matriculation process like, because someone may want to enter, but are there prerequisites? What are some of these things that they need to be mindful of?
Right. So basically, someone interested in entering YTEPP Ltd., they must meet the age requirement and really have a serious desire to pursue a particular vocation. YTEPP provides training more than likely at level 1, which is an assistant skilled worker. And they have the opportunity to come in green, or they have the opportunity to come in with some ability or some skill and be formally trained and formally certified. Within YTEPP, we have a few of our programs that takes you to level 2, which is skilled worker. And for example, our construction and drafting program goes up to level 3, which is the level of a technician. But outside of the YTEPP training, once you come in and you get that formalized training at level 1, you can then matriculate or articulate to other organizations, other training institutions to further your studies in TVET or in your skill area at level 2, level 3, and even level 4. So YTEPP Ltd. Is that stepping stone, that foundation to really build you and equip you enough to move on to a higher level or to actually go on to employment or self-employment.
What kind of ratio do you see in terms of like those cohorts moving through? Or is it that people start on that stepping stone and then slip off?
Well, you have a body of trainees who come in with a desire to really learn a skill. Sometimes some persons start off, say, doing sewing or a little plumbing as a little hobby or as a little fixing around the house. And then you realize like, hey, you know, this is something I have a particular interest in. You know, I feel I can do something more. So the ratio is one in which we have about 60% of our trainees who actually come in, train, become certified, and they either move on to employment or higher education to really zero in on their skills and advance the training that they would have gotten at YTEPP Ltd.
And I really like the fact that this is a process that is certified. So because
That's
sometimes you have the situation of which is it, the chicken or the egg? Is it that you're going to be learning these things and then you just say, okay, well, I know them, or is it that you're going to have a piece of paper saying that these are the things that have been learned? What's some of the feedback that you get from people who have used this as a stepping stone moving forward?
It has been tremendous. And one particular success that comes to mind is a young lady who took on sewing as a hobby. She was actually employed in the marketing field. And when a friend of hers said, well, hey, you're doing this sewing thing for fun, why don't you go YTEPP and learn something, you know, really get the structure. So she entered the program, did the training, and interestingly enough, the pandemic came on. She lost her job and she was able now to use her skills or monetize the skills in sewing. She began very early on in COVID to produce face masks to the point that she had to hire help. All right. And then as time went on, she expanded her product line and now has a full-fledged business. So the feedback has been, thank you, YTEPP, you've actually made an impact on my life. And that is just one example of many, because we would have had persons who were able to actually get jobs after their training. So they would have entered the facility as an assistant skilled worker and grow within that particular environment as they worked along other skilled workers and really sharpen their skills. And again, we have some cohorts of trainees who would have gone on to further education and training as a result of using YTEPP as that platform.
And there's so many things that I want to continue asking in terms of like contributing to sustainable development, the thrust you spoke about, artificial intelligence. So I don't want to start now. Let us take the break and then we return and dive into these topics with you, Montgomery Guy, Acting Director at YTEPP. Stay with us. We return with more. Welcome back. We are going in depth on YTEPP Ltd with Montgomery Guy, Acting Director, Entrepreneurial Development and Support Services, Youth Training and Employment Partnership Program Limited. Now, Mr. Guy, they have, was the term this wrong? There's a lot to unpack. But so let's try to take it little by little.
Yeah.
What are some of the novel things about the offerings that YTEPP has on tap at this point in time?
Well, the interesting thing is, and what we call novel, we have been introducing our mobile app development program. We have our home automation and soon to be business automation, whereby, for example, in farming, we're working where you can now automate your irrigation, automate your fertilization and so on to reduce the labor intensity of the program. YTEPP Ltd, we have moved towards our technology-enabled learning model, whereby our programs are now flexible and blended learning. That is to say, the theoretical aspects of the program is done online and the practical orientation will be done face-to-face. So it's really introducing and you know, setting persons on the track for technology, to engage in technology. We have developed a very robust learning management system coupled with Microsoft Teams, where we have trained and coached our trainees as well as our teaching fraternity so that they can all be a part of technology-enabled learning. So we are on the cusp of really mirroring the needs of the workforce, the needs of national development, to ensure that our training are relevant and meaningful to all of our participants.
And that makes me want to ask as well about the adjustments that would have been necessary during the pandemic and how you've been able to fill the gap and bridge those needs.
Yes. One of the immediate impacts of the COVID-19 while we were delivering training was the closure of all places of learning. And the impact that had, of course, were that trainees had to be at home. And while we would have used different methods, WhatsApp and Google Class to try and engage these trainees, because the COVID came as such a shock and surprise in its immediacy, trainees did not have devices, they did not have reliable internet service, and thus it impacted participation in our training, even though we provided other alternatives to engage those trainees. So it took a while before our participants could have come back on stream. But from on the other end of the coin with regard to YTEPP Limited, it forced us to hasten our business operations or re-engineer our business operations. And this is what really led to a more aggressive approach to our technology-enabled learning, creating those platforms and accessibility points so that our trainees can come online and join us for the theoretical aspects of the training. Because TVET is practical in its orientation, once the government eased the restrictions, we were able to once again do the face-to-face classes and have those trainees really do the practical components of their training, get validated and certified. So in the very beginning, it would have been a challenge for our participants, but from the organizational perspective, it put us in a place to re-engineer our operations and actually make us more efficient and effective in our offerings and our training.
Now, you spoke of participants, Mr. Guy. How is it that you get participants? So let me ask that a different way. Some of the stakeholders, who are those that are involved? Recently, we spoke with someone and they said that part of their grants might be training, and they mentioned YTEPP Limited. So, and I know there's something that happens with NGC as well as police youth camps as well. So what do those stakeholder engagements and partnerships look like?
It's very, very good, because what YTEPP does, and it's youth training and partnership program. So that partnering is something that we really have a strategic focus on. So you mentioned NGC, for example, would have partnered with YTEPP Limited to deliver training to 5 police youth clubs. That's the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service Youth Club Association. And they target young people within various communities like Laventil Road in San Juan, Labre, Pinal, Couva, Mayaro. So we've been able to train these young persons in digital literacy, graphic designs, mobile app development, life skills, and so on. So that's just one example. We partnered with the St. Augustine Rotary Club to provide digital skills training in communities within St. Augustine. We've done a pilot project with the Trinidad and Tobago Association for the Hearing Impaired as well. We've done training for the Private Special Needs Schools Association of Trinidad and Tobago, where we provided online facilitation for their teachers, instructors, so that they can impact very effectively their cohort of participants. So our partnerships have really been far-reaching for communities. On the industry side, we have partners such as Metalex Engineering Services Limited. We have Caridoc, Caribbean Dockyard Services Engineering Limited, where we partner to provide a direct impact to the workforce in those sectors, growing and grooming potential workers for the future, as well as persons who go the way of self-employment. So partnerships or stakeholder relations has been a very significant component to our strategic focus.
And that's really living that tagline of transforming communities, Mr. Guy.
Definitely.
And recently in the news, we saw that there was an opening, an official launch of, is it a culinary department or a culinary school? What was that about? And you speak about aggressive thrusts and moves. So take me through that, please.
Yes. Now, as an organ, now let me just start back. We have been on a trajectory along the lines of government's National Development Plan. As a training organization, we aim to develop our citizens to a point where they're resilient, multi-skilled, and agile to adapt to the changing environment. Therefore, we align our programs in such a way that it is relevant and meaningful. And this is evidenced by our Institute of Culinary Arts, which was recently launched by the Honorable Minister of Education as one of the sectors in which self-employment can grow very rapidly. And we pride ourselves in this particular Institute of Culinary Arts because we are able to expose our trainees to cafeteria operations, to culinary arts and other programs that would not only make them proficient at the skill for employment, but where they can actually work on their entrepreneurial skills to really promote themselves, their families, and communities. Further to that, we have our Institute of Cosmetology. We have key training in sectors such as shipbuilding and repair, energy and construction sectors as it relates to welding and fabricating. So therefore, we are well on track with regard to government's roadmap to recovery. We are matching our programs in such a way that when someone accesses our training, they are able to actually get work or create their own work. So we are very unique in design, and we are very much in line and in tune with the requirements of the existing labor market as well as the future labor market.
But Mr. Guy, learning how to do a job or having a capacity is one thing, but learning how to interact with people is another.
Yes.
YTEPP's focused on transferring knowledge of soft skills. Is that part of the program?
It's most definitely, because as you rightfully said, someone may have the skill, they may get the job, they may not be able to keep the job because of poor attitude, poor behavior, not knowing how to dress, not knowing how to respect authority, not having proper communication skills. So within our programs, adjunct to the skills, we have our life skills program or our career enhancement program, where we expose trainees to various components of life skills such as leadership, patriotism, self-respect, respecting others, tolerance, and the list goes on. So soft skills play a very critical component to our holistic training to all of our participants when they come in. So when you get a YTEPP trainee, you get a complete person who's ready for work or who is in a position to establish their own business.
All right, now looking at the time we have, Mr. Guy, I want a yes or no question in addition to your contact information, please. Someone who's already working but sees the need and wants to pick up something at YTEPP, is it possible to do things on the weekend or very part-time? And what is your contact information? Thank you.
We do have part-time programs that we offer, but I would say that our priority tend to be on unemployed persons, youth, retrenched persons. So we always give them the first priority. But if we do in fact have the space, you can definitely access the training on evenings. With regard to contact information, it's 672-5411. You can get more information at on facebook.com/YTEPP or our website at www.YTEPP.edu.tt.
Thank you so much, Montgomery Guy, the Acting Director, Entrepreneurial Development and Support Services at YTEPP Ltd. And on behalf of the entire TTT News team, we want to thank you for tuning in. This has been In Depth with me, Dike Rostant. Thank you for joining us.